part, knees nice and soft. We're just going to start with our rocking and our breath. So as we take an inhale breath to prepare, and then as we exhale, I'd just like you to rock forwards over the balls of the feet and just notice that tightening around the core. Ooh, they toppled over there. Inhale as we come back to center. Let's go again. A couple more times. Just relaxing the arms down beside you. Really paying attention to that middle section. Finding that corset muscle, engaging through the core as we lean forwards. We're going to bring it back to center, so weight feels nice and evenly distributed throughout the feet and foot. Softening the knees a little bit more and just doing some pelvic tilt. So just really squeezing the tailbone between the legs. Really try to stretch out that lower back area and then rock the pelvis forward. So just a few pelvic tilts just to mobilize through that lower spine. Squeezing that tailbone between the legs. And then we're going to find that neutral pelvis, so somewhere in between those two extreme movements. So it's a slight tuck of the tailbone, drawing up through the pelvic floor as well. Crown of the head towards the ceiling, and let's just do some nice big shoulder rolls. So really scooping those shoulders up towards the ears and then sliding the shoulder blade all the way down the back of the back. And then finally, we're just going to allow those shoulder blades to slide down the back of the back. Take a nice deep inhale breath. We're going to reach the arms up towards the ceiling, keeping that core nice and strong. Exhale breath. Really empty the lungs as the arms come back down. So on the inhale breath, think about lengthening and expanding through the rib cage. And on the exhale breath, think about connecting through the core as we bring those arms down beside us. Let me just let this set in. Let's just do a couple more of those. Nice big inhale breath, really fill the lungs. Exhale, bring the arms back down. On this next one, we're going to leave the arms overhead. So nice inhale breath, lengthening through the spine. We're going to grab hold of one of the wrists and just a gentle pull over to one side, feeling that distance increase between that bottom, between the hip and the bottom rib. Inhale breath. Exhale breath as we connect and bring ourselves back to center, grabbing hold of the other wrist. Again, we're just going to pull the arm over, feeling that lovely side bend stretch. Hi, Seb. Inhale breath, exhale breath as we bring ourselves back to center. Connect through the core as we come back to center, bringing the arms behind the head, hands behind the head rather. So pushing the head into the hands. We're just going to take a nice gaze up towards the ceiling, keeping that tailbone slightly tucked under. So really opening up the front of the chest, working the back of the shoulders. Exhale breath as we bring ourselves back to center. Let's go again. Inhale breath, really pressing the back of the head into the hands, elbows out nice and wide. Opening up the front, extending through the top part of the spine. Exhale breath as we bring ourselves back to center again. Remember that connection on the exhale breath. Let's go 2 more times. Inhale, take that gaze up, press that head and hands back rather. Exhale breath back to neutral. Last one. Working the top of that back. And then exhale, bringing ourselves back to neutral. Let's take it right down into a roll down now. So just start to gently press the hands forwards, bringing the chin towards the chest. And then we're just going to roll the spine down. So again, imagine that peeling away from that brick wall behind us as we roll the spine down. Hands stay behind the head. And when we get to the bottom of that roll down, just allow the arms to dangle. Make sure the knees aren't locked. Just enjoy that stretch through the spine, through the back of the legs, through the calves, lower back. Nice inhale breath through the nose. Exhale breath, try and go a little bit deeper into that stretch. And then on the next exhale breath, start to think about turning that tailbone underneath, scooping the tummy button up towards the spine, away from the thighs. Just let the arms dangle as we roll back up, rebuilding. Restacking. Nice big shoulder roll when we reach the top. And then we're just going to come towards the end of the mat. Oh, there's somebody else who's waiting. It's Pam. Let Pam in. So now we're going to do a little bit of leg work, but we're going to roll down and walk out halfway down the mat. So I'll talk us through it. Take an inhale breath to prepare. Nice lengthening inhale breath, exhale breath as we start to roll the spine down. Chin comes towards the chest. Arms just dangle down by the side. Rolling all the way down. Again, keeping those knees soft. We might need to bend through those knees a little bit if we want to touch the floor with the hands. We're going to walk all the way, not all the way, sorry, halfway down the mat into a downward dog position. So fingers spread, palms pressing the floor away. So really engage through the shoulders. Bring the head between the arms. And then we're just going to press that weight back into the heels, into a nice downward dog position, feeling that stretch into the calf. Then coming up onto the toes, tiptoes, and then pressing those heels back down towards the floor. So really bring that head in between the arms, lifting the heels up and down, feeling that really nice stretch into the back of the legs. Let's just do a couple more, really lifting the bottom up towards the ceiling and just easing those heels down towards the mat. Last one, really press that bottom up towards the ceiling and then heels come back down towards the mat. We're going to then bend through the knees and come into a little knee hover. So bring the shoulders over the hands, bring the knees into a little hover above the mat. We're just going to really wake everything up by holding it here for 4 nice deep breaths. Hi Pam, by the way. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Really feel that connection in the core. Imagine we're balancing a tray of drinks on the spine. Last 2 breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Noticing that deeper connection on the exhale breath. And last one. Knees softly come down to meet the floor and have a little sit back into the heels, walk the hands forwards, really lengthen through the spine as we bring the forehead down towards the floor. Nice deep breaths there as well. So really feel the expansion in the back of the rib cage on the inhale. And then we're going to come back up onto all fours again. I'm going to work a little bit of rotation this time. So I'm just going to
Just move my camera so you can see my mat.
There we go. So wrists underneath shoulders, knees are underneath hips. We're going to extend the right leg out to the side. So the foot is in line with the knee. So firstly, we're just going to bring the right hand up away from the floor. We're going to reach up towards the ceiling, keeping the right foot nice and flat to the mat. So rotating through the spine, opening through the chest. And then we're going to bring the arm down to the side and take it just behind the left wrist and rotate over towards that left hand side. And let's do a couple more of those. So sliding that hand back behind the left wrist, reaching up towards the ceiling. And then bring the hand back down, palm facing up towards the ceiling as we slide behind that left wrist. Bring that rotation into the spine. Let's just do one more on this side. Sliding back through. Keep that left elbow nice and soft as well. Try not to lock out the elbow. Nice, well done. Bring the right hand back underneath the right shoulder. Bring the right knee back underneath the hip. We do exactly the same on the other side now. So left foot extends out. So the foot is in line with the knee. We're going to start with that reach up towards the ceiling. So just rotating through, opening up through the chest. Nice inhale breath there. And then as we exhale, bring the hand down. Slide behind that right wrist. Reach that left hand as far away as we can. And then coming back through and opening. 2 more. Around. And the last one. Sliding that hand as far away from the body as we can. Feel that lovely stretch down the left leg, inside of the left leg, and then bring the hand back underneath the shoulder. Bring the knee back underneath the hip. Let's take it back into our child's pose and just walking the hands around to one side, feeling that lovely oblique stretch as we walk the hands over, keeping the bottom as close to the heels as we can. Okay, nice deep breaths into that stretch. Walking the hands all the way back through the center, over to the other side, popping one hand on top of the other. And then walking the hands back to center. We're going to slide out all the way down the mat onto our fronts for a little bit of spine work to begin with. So bringing one hand on top of the other, forehead onto the hands. The hands are acting like a bit of a pillow. Legs out, probably to roughly the corners of the mat. And again, a tiny little scoop of that tailbone. So we're just slightly pressing that pubic bone down into the floor. We're going to start with lower back and glutes. So I want you to think about really lengthening through the right leg, pressing the right hip down into the mat and lifting that leg away from the floor, keeping the leg as straight as we can. So nice tight glute on that right hand side and lowering back down with control. Let's go with the other side. So as the left leg comes up, really press that left hip down into the mat. Really feel that contraction in the glutes and lower back down with control. That's it. Keep it going one side, then the other. And lower. Don't forget to press that hip into the mat as that leg comes away from the floor. That's our level 1 exercise. One leg, then the other. Level 2, both legs at the same time. So take an inhale breath. As we exhale, really pressing both hips down into the floor along with the pubic bone, squeezing those legs up, lengthening through the legs as well at the same time, so much to think about, and lower back down with control. If it feels too much, just continue with one leg then the other. So it's a squeeze and release, controlling the legs back to the floor. Let's go for 4 more reps. Exhale as we come up. Hold it up and lower back down. Last 3. And 2 more. Keep those legs as straight as we can. Really lengthen out through the legs as the legs raise away from the floor. And last one. Exhale, breath, lift. And then lower back down with control. Now we're going to work upper spine. So we're going to take an inhale breath here, keeping that pubic bone pressed down into the floor. We're just going to hover the head and the shoulders, keeping the gaze down to the mat as the head and shoulders come away from the floor, and then lower it back down with control. So exhale breath, we lift. And lower. Just working the top part of the spine, coming up and down with control. If you want to put the 2 together, we can do on this next one, taking it up a little bit more. So lifting the legs and the upper spine, head and shoulders at the same time. So working the whole of the posterior chain there. Remembering to press those hip bones into the floor as the legs come away from the mat. Just coming up and down with the breath. Working the whole of the spine. And if you want to make it a little bit harder again, coming up with both, with upper spine and legs. And then we can extend out the arms as well at the same time. Increase that lever length. Bring the hands back underneath the head and lower back down with control. We're going to go for 4 more reps. So just stick with what you're comfortable with. If If you want to take it up to that level, just bring those arms into extension at the top. Hands come back under and lower back down with control. Last two. Exhale, breath. At the level you're working, just adding in that simple arm extension and leg raise. And your last one. Reach those arms forward, bring the hands back under, lower it all back down to the mat. Well done. Bring the hands to underneath the shoulders or just in front of. Let's push up onto all fours again and just take it into a really lovely cat stretch just to release off the spine there. So elbows nice and soft. Begin by tucking the tailbone under first. Feel that stretch into the lower back before we take it all the way up. Lengthening the spine back out again. To get a nice little stretch into the shoulders here, staying in that nice flexed spine position, just have a little sit back into the heels, but keep the tummy scooped away from the thighs. Enjoy that stretch up into the shoulders as well there. And then just walk the hands back towards you. We're going to come towards the front of the mat now, work the front of the body. So we're going to start with some half roll downs before we get all the way down. So again, feet hip width apart, sat nice and tall on the sit bones in the bottom. We're going to bring the arms out in front, level with the shoulders, but just making sure the shoulders are down the back of the back. Inhale, breath to prepare. As we exhale, we're going to again tuck that tailbone under first and roll halfway down onto the back of the pelvis. We're going to take an inhale breath here, and then exhale, we're coming all the way back up. And when we reach the top of the sit bones, we lengthen the spine up towards the ceiling. Let's go again. Exhale, breath. Tailbone tucks under. We're aiming to get the waistband of the trousers as close to the floor as we can here, holding on the inhale breath and exhaling as we come back up. With a little lengthen at the top. Let's go for a couple more. Again, still mobilizing through that spine. Working that lovely C curve of the spine, holding on the inhale. Exhale as we come onto the top of the sit bones and lengthen. Last one, we're going to stay down on this last one, stay halfway down. So we're just going to roll it down halfway. We're going to hold it here. Inhale breath, exhale breath. We're going to bring the right leg up into tabletop position and then lower with control. Left leg comes up, lift, and control back down. Two more on each side if we can. Exhale breath with control. Try not to do it too quickly. Really scooping those abdominals. Last ones. And the last one. Exhale, we lift. Inhale, we lower back down. Then we're going to go all the way down this time. So really articulating through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slowly, bringing the arms behind the head. When we reach the floor, step the feet away from you like we're on a big stretching rack. And then just peel the spine away from the mat, lifting the tummy button up towards the ceiling. Find that length into the front of the body. Expanding through the rib cage on that inhale breath. And then bringing the arms back down, bringing the feet up onto the floor. Let's just find that pelvic stability now. So finding neutral with the pelvis again, so the hip bone and the pubic bone are on that same level. We've lessened the arch in the lower back. We're going to engage through the core so the pelvis stays completely still, and just start with some marches. If you want to keep your hands on your hip bones just to make sure they're not wobbling around. Right leg comes up to tabletop, then other leg, left leg. Just making sure the pelvis is completely still, and completely quiet. We're really working those deep core abdominals here. Lovely. Let's go for a couple more. 1 and 2. We're then going to take it up with both legs, but one at a time. So right leg comes up into tabletop position. So the knee is directly above the hip. The shins are parallel with the floor. The left leg comes up to join the right leg. And then we're going to bring the arms up above the shoulders, palms facing, and anchor those shoulders into the floor. So we've got a nice 90-degree angle behind the knee. So the shins are parallel. We're going to take an inhale breath. The spine is not to lift away from the floor as we bring those arms behind the head. So keep that core connection as the arms come behind the head. Don't worry if we don't touch the floor. Exhale breath as we bring the arms back up above the shoulders. So it's just arms at the moment. Inhaling as they come behind. Try not to increase the distance between that bottom rib and top of the hip. You know what I mean? So we don't want any lifting from the spine. If you feel the spine lifting, just really imprint down into the floor with the spine. Inhaling it back. Exhale as we come back up to top. Let's go. 2 more. And on this next one, we're going to leave the arms behind the head and start our marching from this position. So you'll notice a difference as we really connect the core. We're going to tap the right toe down towards the end of the mat and exhale, bring that leg back up to tabletop position. So do not allow the spine to lift. Keep those arms behind the head. Really nice, everyone. Try not to fold from the knee. So almost try to reach the toe towards the end of the mat without that spine lifting. Let's go. 1 more on each side. Good. And the last one. Well done. Bring the knees towards the chest. Grab hold of the knees. Have a little roll around on that lower back. Try to relax the abdominals there. And then just pop the feet back down onto the floor. Next exercise we're going to do is the 100. So again, making sure those shoulder blades are down the back of the back. Collarbone should feel nice and wide. Reaching the arms down beyond the bottom. We're going to again either imprint or work that neutral spine position as we bring the first leg up into tabletop position. Second leg's going to come up to join. So this is our level 1 starting position. So arms nice and lengthened. We're going to start to hinge from the shoulder. Inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5. Nice deep breaths. Level 2, bring the chin towards the chest, lift the head and shoulders, reach those hands away from you and keep pulsing. Imagine we're bouncing a basketball with the hands. And then of course, level 3, legs extend, squeeze those heels together. So we're at 4. 5. 6. Nice exaggerated exhale breath. 7. Lovely Pam, lovely Abby. 8. Nearly there. In 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Last 10. And 10. Well done. Bring the knees again towards the chest. Have a little roll around on that lower back. So let's give the abdominals a little bit of a rest after that. Bringing the feet back down to the floor. This time heels a little bit closer to the bottom. So the heel is directly underneath the knee. feet are hip width apart, arms go back down by the sides, again, collarbones out nice and wide. So we're going to start to imprint the lower spine down into the floor, lifting the pubic bone higher than the hip bone, so work that pelvic tilt first, and then just start to peel the spine away from the floor up into our first bridge. So again, imagine we've got a tennis ball gripped between the knees here, keep that tuck of the tailbone. So a lovely straight slope from the knee down to the shoulder. Take an inhale breath here. And then as we exhale, we're really wanting to articulate through the spine as we roll back down with control. When that bottom touches the floor, again, keep that tennis ball gripped between the knees. We're going to go back up again. So imprint. Start to peel the spine up. Squeezing the glutes to the top. So the glutes are what are keeping us up here. Inhale breath. Exhale breath as we come all the way back down. Keeping the knees nice and still. So you should feel that in the inner thighs as well. If we keep imagining that tennis ball between the knees, gripping that tennis ball, squeezing the hips up towards the ceiling. Inhaling at the top. Exhale as we lower it back down. On this next one, we're going to stay lifted. So inhale breath. Exhale, tilt that pelvis first. Pubic bone reaches up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes. Press those hips up towards the ceiling. So level one here, we're going to heel raise the right heel. Keeping that right hip level with the left hip. So it's just a heel raise and lower. Level two, we're going to press that left foot into the floor as we bring the right leg up into tabletop position. So really pressing that weight through that left heel and lower. We're going to go for 5 on each side, whether it's a heel raise or a full leg raise. Last 3. Lovely. Feel a little bit of heat in that left glute. And last one. And then right foot comes back down towards the floor. Take an inhale breath, exhale breath, articulating through the spine as the spine comes down as well. Then we're going to go up for the other side. So deep inhale breath, exhale breath. Again, gripping that tennis ball between the knees, peeling the spine away from the floor. Squeezing those hips up towards the ceiling. Left heel raise, lifting and lowering, just making sure the hip bones stay level. Level 2, let's take it into our tabletop. Press the weight through that right foot. Really working that right glute. And last 4, lovely Abby. 3. Perfect, Linda. That's really good, everyone. 2. And last one. Exhale it up. Inhale it down. Well done. Inhale breath here. Exhale breath as the whole spine comes down towards the floor. Roll it down. Grab hold of one knee. Grab hold of the other knee and just bring the knees up towards the shoulders and have a little rock from side to side there as well. And then bringing the feet back down towards the floor. We are then going to come back into our tabletop legs position. So again, making sure you set that neutral spine and pelvis first. We're going to bring the first leg up to tabletop position, engaging through those deep core muscles. Exhale, breath, second leg comes up to join. Again, we're going to bring the arms up above the shoulders, anchoring the shoulders down into the floor. So like we did before, inhale breath, the arms are going to reach behind the head. Try not to lift the spine away from the floor. As we exhale this time, head and shoulders are going to come up with the arms, and we're going to reach both arms to one side of the legs. reaching towards the ankle. Inhale as we come back down. So this one's working a little bit of rotation. Exhale, breath. We reach the other side. Almost try to reach the hands level with the ankle and lower back down. Exhale, breath. Reach. Imagine we've got a ball in between the hands, so keep the hands almost shoulder width apart. So what muscle we're thinking of working here is the muscle that joins bottom rib to opposite hip. So almost try to bring that bottom rib over towards the top of the hip. Keep it going. Inhaling as arms come behind the head. Exhaling as we come up, reaching his arms. That looks really nice. Hold the step. Let's go. 2 more on each side. Try to keep the legs where they are. And last ones. And inhale, last one. Exhale, really reach the hands down towards the outside of the ankle. And then lower the head and shoulders down. Bring the arms out level with the shoulders, nice and soft through the elbows, lowering one leg down towards the floor, lowering second leg down towards the floor. We're going to step the feet to either side of the mat and then just work a nice diagonal stretch. So just roll the knees over in one direction, rolling the head in the opposite direction. Really try to get those knees down towards the floor. Hopefully feeling that lovely stretch across the waist. Deep inhale breath, expand the rib cage. And then just rolling the knees back through the center, rolling the head back through the center and over to the other side. And then bring head and knees back to center again. Well done. We're going to come down into side lying now. We're going to work, let's work glutes first and then obliques. So we're going to come down onto our side. I want you to bring the shins parallel with the top edge of the mat. Head can be relaxed down on the arm ideally, hand not the end of the world. So hips are stacked one on top of the other, cores engaged again to keep those hips nice and still. We're just going to come up into a deadlift this top leg. So I want you to just bring the leg, top leg away from the bottom leg, keeping those hips stacked. It's not a massive lift. The knee comes to just above top hip level, and then we're lowering back down. Try not to rest at the bottom. So it's a little tap, kiss the knees together, and straight back up again. We're lowering it down, making sure those hips stay nice and still. Not a huge movement at all. All stays nice and strong. There should be a little bit of daylight underneath the weight, in between the waist and the mat. Okay, exhaling as we lift. If we can, inhaling as we close those knees back together, keeping the shins parallel. On this next one, we're going to stay lifted. We're then going to draw some very small circles with the knee. So hopefully should be isolating the outside of this top hip. Let's go for 4 more circles in this direction. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take the circles back in the opposite direction. Lovely. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees going to stay lifted to just above hip level still. We're then going to tap, the knees going to stay where it is, and we're going to tap the toes together and then bring the toe back level with that top knee. So it's a toe tap and then raise. Toe tap and raise. Ouch. Last 3, 2, and 1. Toe comes back level with the knee. We're going to go for 4 knee taps now. So feet stay where they are, and we're just going to internally rotate that leg, tap those knees together. Last 3. Come on, Seth. Buns of steel, 2, and 1. Knee comes back level with the foot, and then just bring the legs together again. Give that bottom a nice rub or a punch, whatever you need to do. Never get any easier. And then we're going to lengthen all the way down. So we're going to come into one really nice long line. This time head does ideally need to be rested on the arm. Hands in front for a little bit of balance. Try to keep the fingers nice and light. So we're going to really lengthen through the legs here, squeezing the heels together. Inhale, breath, hips stay stacked, then exhale, breath. We're lifting the legs, both legs, heels stay together, squeezing up into that banana shape and lowering back down with control. Well done. Exhale, breath, we lift, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the legs. Inhale, breath, we lower with control. Try to keep these fingertips nice and light. Let's go 4 more. So working obliques here. 4. Really lengthen the legs as well as lifting them. 3. Nearly there. 2. Squeezing the heels. Last one. Let's see if we can hold it up for a 4 breath hold at the top. So squeezing the heels together, work those inner thighs. 3, 2, and 1, and lower it back down with control. Well done. Bringing the legs back into tabletop position. So the shins are parallel with the top edge of the mat. We're going to bring the arm out underneath, level with the shoulder, making sure the shoulders are stacked, head relaxed down onto the mat or pillow. If you've got one, we're going to bring one hand on top of the other here. Take an inhale breath. We're going to reach, lift and lengthen through this top arm. Try to sweep the ceiling on the way and just aim to get the shoulder blades as close to the floor as we can. Keep the gaze with that moving hand. Take a nice inhale breath at the bottom. And then on the exhale breath again, think about that connection on the exhale breath. Bring the arm back up and over. Bring the hands back together. Let's just do a couple more of these. So inhaling as we lift and lengthen, opening the chest. Shoulder blades as close to the floor as we can. Take a nice inhale breath into that stretch and then exhale as we connect the core. Bring the arm back through. And last one. Exhale, bring it back. Hands come together. Take an inhale breath when the hands touch and then exhale breath as we slide that top hand as far away from the body as we can. And just try to relax into that. And then bring the hands back together. Well done. We're going to come into a seated position now and work spine twist. So again, a rotational exercise, but finding the sit bones in the bottom and then really lengthening on top of those sit bones. So just bring the feet out nice and wide. I'd rather you had a straight spine. So if you can, lengthen out through the legs, as long as we can keep the spine straight. If we need to pop that bend into the knee, that's not the end of the world either. So we're going to bring the hands into prayer position. Inhaling in the center, lengthening the spine in the center. Exhale breath, keeping the gaze towards the hands. We're just going to rotate the spine over to one side, really emptying the lungs. Inhale as we come back through the center. Exhale it through. Inhale it back. I like to think about loads of damp cloths wrapped around the spine. What we're trying to do is just wring out every drop of water. Exhaling through. Let's go. 2 more to each side. So spine stays lengthened throughout this exercise. Last ones. He stays with the hands. Spine stays long. Bring it back to center and just relax the arms down to the sides. We're going to switch round and work for the glutes and obliques. So coming down into that side lying position. For this first bit with glutes, you can just prop the head onto the hand if you like, or block, or your arm, whatever you've got. So hips are going to stay stacked, core switched on, making those hips nice and still. And then we're just going to remove the top leg from the bottom leg, keeping the shins parallel. So not a massive lift, knee comes to just above top hip level. And then inhale, breath as we slowly lower them back down. Let the knees kiss and then straight back up again. So try not to rest at the bottom. Tempting, isn't it? Stay nice and still. Just check in with the waist, make sure there's a little bit of daylight just underneath the waist. Imagine you've got a Malteser underneath the waist. We don't want to melt that Malteser. Stay lifted on this next one. So knee comes to just above hip level. We're going to start with those very small circles. Keep the shins parallel. Slow and controlled. Well done. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the circles back in the opposite direction. Keep the foot the same level as that knee. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Knee stays just above hip level. We're going for those toe taps now. So knee stays where it is, and we just tap the toes together. So we're externally rotating that leg. Toe tap. 4 more. Ouch, ouch, ouch. 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Bring that foot level. Foot stays where it is. We're going for 4 knee taps. So we're internally rotating and then bringing that knee back level with the foot. 3. Ouch, this really hurts. 2. Sorry, everyone. And 1. Knee comes back. Bring the knees together. Bring the feet together. Give that bottom a good old rub. Well done. And then coming down into our oblique exercise. So just bringing those legs level with the body. So as if we were sandwiched between 2 walls, head relaxed down onto the arm, fingers in front for a little bit of support so we don't topple over. So think about lengthening through the legs first, squeezing the heels together, and then inhale breath as we exhale, pressing the underneath side of the waist down into the floor, lifting those legs away from the mat, squeezing through the top waist and lowering back down. So we're working this side muscle here, joining the rib, bottom rib to hip. So lengthening as we come down and squeezing on that exhale breath, squeezing those heels together as well. Last 4. 3, 2, last one. Let's see if we can hold it up for a full breath hold at the top. So exhale and up, nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Lovely. 3, 2, and 1, and lower it back down with control. Well done. Bring those knees out in front, shins parallel with the top edge of the mat. Bring that arm underneath, out level with the shoulder. Have a little shuffle up so everything's stacked. One hand on top of the other. Take an inhale breath, really opening up the chest. Aim to get those shoulder blades close to the floor or on the floor if you can. Exhale, think about that connection in the core as you bring the arm back over. Make the core do the work. Let's go for 2 more. And last one. Inhale it over. Exhale as we bring the arm back. Bring the hands together. Take an inhale breath here. As we exhale, let's slide the hand as far away as possible. And then sliding the hands back together again. We're going to come back onto our backs. A little more core before we stretch off. So again, finding that neutral, so hip bones and pubic bone on that same level. If you need to, pop your hands on the hips and pubic bone there just to make sure you can do. So again, engaging through the core, we're going to bring the first leg up into tabletop position. Now lift from the spine. Exhale, second leg comes up to tabletop position. Zipping knees and feet together for this one. We're going to bring the arms out level with the shoulders, palms facing up towards the ceiling, and working our spine twist on our back now. So we're inhaling as we roll the knees over to one side. And then exhale as we bring the knees back through the center. Inhaling over to the other side. Exhale it back through. If you want to make it a little bit harder, as we roll down to the right side, we can extend the left leg and then roll down, just increasing the length of the lever. Keep the shoulder blades in contact with the floor here. Exhale it back to center. Lift up through the right leg. Left leg comes back to tabletop as we go over to the left side. If you want to make it even harder again, we can do this with both straight legs, so like windscreen wipers. Just making sure the shoulder blades stay on the floor. Exhale it back through the center. So again, great exercise, working across that waist diagonally. Try and make it all about core control here. Let's go 2 more to each side. Last ones, nearly there. And the last one. Bring those legs back to center. Let's just do the last one before we finish. Level 1 scissors, so bringing the legs back into tabletop position. We're going to toe tap back down onto the floor, keeping that 90-degree bend. Have a little play around here with where the legs cross. If they cross on that 45-degree angle, you're going to work that core a little bit harder. And then, of course, There's level 2 where we lengthen out through the legs, scissors straight legs. And have a little play around with where those legs cross. And then level 3, head and shoulders lift. We add in that gentle pull of the leg at the top, pulling that knee towards you, getting that lovely stretch into the back of the legs. I'll leave it entirely up to you at which level. Just remember to breathe. Let's go 4 more to each side. 1, 2, lovely Sheila. Linda, well done. 3. And last ones, nearly there. And 4, well done. Bring the knees towards the chest. Roll it out on that with that lower back. Well done. And then just bring the feet down onto the floor. Lengthen the legs towards the corners of the mat. So the legs are out, lift the feet are out a little bit wider than hip width. We're going to bring the arms out behind us, just relaxing through the elbows. So they're out on the diagonal as well. So we're making a bit of a mini cross there. We're going to lift the right leg up away from the floor, bring it over the left leg and just reach the right foot as far away from the right hand as possible. So almost like a diagonal line of an X. You should feel a really nice stretch down that right hand side, across the waist. Try to keep the shoulder blades in contact with the floor. Gain deep breaths. And then just slowly bring that leg back over, bringing the back of the pelvis back down onto the floor, bringing that right foot out towards the corner of the mat. So let's go with the other side now. So left leg lifts up away from the floor. It comes across over the right leg. And then we're just going to try to reach that foot, the left foot, away from that left hand, like the diagonal line on an X. So the left side of the pelvis is lifted away from the floor. And then slowly bring the leg back over, allowing the back of the pelvis to completely touch the floor. And then bringing the feet up onto the mat, let's just stretch out the glutes. So imprinting the spine down into the floor, we're just going to lift the right foot across the left knee. Imprinting the spine, we're just going to lift the left leg up into tabletop position, grab hold of the right ankle. Oh, hello, Arthur. So just feel that stretch in the right hand side of the glutes there. If you want to increase that stretch a little bit, just lift the spine away from the floor, so arching up with the spine. You should just feel it a little bit deeper into that right glute. And then before we bring that left foot back down, make sure you imprint spine first down into the floor, and then just bring that left foot back down onto the floor. So same on the other side. Left foot comes across the right knee, imprinting the spine just to protect that lower back first. Lift that right leg up into tabletop position, grab hold of the left ankle. Just hold that stretch there. If you want to deepen it a little bit, just peel the spine up towards the ceiling. And then just make sure we imprint that spine back down towards the floor before we let that right foot touch the mat. And then bring the left foot down as well. We're going to turn over onto our fronts now, stretching down the abdominals. So we're just going to come down, let the feet come out against the corners of the mat. Try to relax the bottom and the legs on this one. So the hands come underneath the shoulders. or just in front of, whichever you find more comfortable. Just make sure those shoulders are away from the ears. So slide those shoulder blades down first, and then pressing into the hands, we're just going to extend through the top part of the spine. Coming up. Take the gaze towards the front edge of the mat. Feel a nice stretch down the front of the body. And then just lowering back down with control. And then again, now we're going to engage through the core. We're coming up onto the knee, so just protect that lower spine as we come up. Widen out through the knees here, so just bringing the knees to the edges of the mat. We're just going to sit back in between the heels this time, so really lowering the upper body down into the floor. Just relax it down towards the mat. Get that lovely stretch into the inner thighs as well. And then just start to walk the hands back towards you. Bringing the hands to underneath the shoulders, bringing the knees back underneath the hips. Let's take it into that nice cat stretch again. So elbows nice and soft. Starting with the pelvis, tucking that tailbone under first. Find the stretch in the lumbar spine, and then just allow it to ripple all the way up the spine. Take the gaze and in between the legs. And then start to untuck the tailbone and just allow the spine to ripple down towards the floor. We've got that nice curve in the spine there. Just gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades. Take the gaze towards the end of the mat. Let's go one more. Cat stretch. So tailbone tucks under. Pressing up. Scooping the tummy button up as well. Chin comes towards the chest, and then untucking, allowing that to ripple down. Gaze goes towards the end of the mat, gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades. And let's find that halfway house, so lengthening through the spine, slight tuck of the tailbone under. We're going to turn the toes underneath, have a little sit back into the heels. Take an inhale breath, and on that exhale, we're going to press the bottom up towards the ceiling, head between the arms, up on the tiptoes there, and then pedal, easing the heels down towards the floor, feeling that really nice stretch into the calves. And finally, trying to press both heels back towards the mat. And then just slowly start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Knees stay nice and soft. Try not to lock the knees out there. Take it back into that flop position. So really switching off the neck. Really unclenching the jaw. Relaxing the arms. Nice focused breaths. And then start to think about waking everything back up again, drawing that tummy button up towards the spine. Start to tuck the tailbone underneath. And just allow the spine to follow as we roll back up. Nice and slow. Not forgetting when you do. Good to see you, Linda.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.